Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and we have so much content. The Lefties have been extra crazy over the Christmas break, so get ready for a barrage of woke lunacy. Let's start in Canada, where the neo-Marxist himbo himself, Justin Trudeau, has finally realised how loath he is and is stepping down. I wonder if over the last few months there were any clues to his unpopularity. Take it away, rock legend Mick Jagger.
I mean, we love your Mr. Trudeau. I mean, his family's always been such big fans of our band. By the way, congratulations on the Canadian soccer team getting to the semi-finals.
Very skillful of Mick there to just quickly change the topic to soccer. Yes, the Rolling Stones, I don't think, are too used to hearing booing at their concerts. Justin Trudeau was a media darling, the picture-perfect progressive male feminist, but the people in Canada have finally seen through him. He has caused untold damage to the country, and Canadians are no longer shy about confronting him, whether it's in the streets or in a diner.
Mr. Prime Minister, please get the out of BC.
Have a wonderful day now.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
Now, many deranged folks have been utterly broken by Donald Trump, and there are also those who we once thought were sane and mildly intelligent who have allowed TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, to completely destroy their standing among thinking people. And no man better demonstrates that than Sam Harris, a member of the intellectual dark web, remember that? But turns out he's just a massive hysteric. Here's Sam Harris, who's now a ballistic expert apparently, embarrasses himself by questioning whether Donald Trump was actually shot. Even fellow TDS sufferer Bill Maher was left shaking his head.
I'm surprised that a rifle round making any degree of contact with an ear wouldn't do more damage. I think a shattered piece of shrapnel from a teleprompter is far more likely to have done that to his ear than a rifle round.
That's so silly.
Well, have you seen what rifle rounds do to human bodies?
I know, but like, if it just hit it by the slightest possible degree, it just, it makes much more sense. The guy behind
Well, no, but I do, no, there's no question there were rifle rounds flying. I mean, someone was killed. I'm not debating that at all.
Oh, he acknowledges that Corey actually died. I mean, what an absolute disgrace Sam Harris is these days. And if you think I'm being too hard on him, remember this from a couple of years ago when he said he didn't even care if Hunter Biden had dead bodies in his basement. This guy is deranged.
I mean, Hunter Biden, at that point, Hunter Biden literally could have had the corpses of children in his basement. I would not have cared, right?
Now, I'm going to bring you plenty on the suicidally stupid lefty policies that have devastated California and hamstrung the ability of firefighters to fight fires. But first, let's check in on a typical Californian leftist who somehow finds a way to blame Donald Trump for the fire response in a state where the Democrats enjoy a supermajority.
So we should have seen this coming. Instead of reaching out with compassion to the people in my city, Los Angeles, for losing everything in the fires, miserable Trump and his cronies are politicizing it, of course, for their own advantage. They're blaming Gavin Newsom, they're blaming the Democrats. Funny, he doesn't blame the red states for hurricanes and tornadoes and floods. No, he's a miserable man out for his own good. And by the way, he doesn't believe in climate change. It's a hoax. So you know what? We are in big trouble.
Where do you start? Well, the difference between hurricanes and tornadoes and fires is you can't cause a hurricane or tornado or fight a hurricane or tornado. You can only do a stellar rescue and recovery job, which Ron DeSantis and others like him managed to do. But you can do plenty to prevent the severity of fires, like managing the fuel loads, forest management, water management, having a well-resourced fire department. plenty, and we'll speak about that a little bit later. But first, let's check in on just how violently deranged the left have become, where they literally defend and indeed celebrate murder on the streets.
So the CEO of the multi-billion-dollar United Healthcare Insurance Company was shot and killed this morning in New York City. And I will say that it is pretty tragic that the shooter was only able to get one of them. But it's a good start. I mean, it's a good foundation. Good. We can only move up from here. And before any of you come at me with, "Oh my God, I can't believe you'd say that," go yourself. Seriously, go yourselves.
Now, I bring you worrying news about Rosie O'Donnell, whose TDS may be causing an outbreak of herpes.
And look what I have on my lip. Everybody's been saying you have herpes all this time, and I never had a cold sore in my life. And now I have a cold sore. And it makes me think that perhaps this weird pimple that had a tiny little head was a cold sore too. So I don't know. I will let you know tomorrow if I do in fact have herpes, as some of the taunting from the MAGA people in the last couple of weeks. Hasn't it been fun, ladies and gentlemen, to be standing in direct opposition to everything he is and represents? And always have been. And always will be.
She's right. The feud with President Donald Trump goes a long way back, years and years. You might remember this from 2016.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account...
Now, let's check in with leftist Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's now made her Broadway debut, yes, in a production called & Juliet, which is a queer twist on Romeo and Juliet. Of course it is.
Female empowerment. Sick. I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
Oh, you'll remember that's the woman who didn't know what a woman was. She thought you had to have a biology degree to answer that question. Let's go to the next clip. It's pretty incredible. And if you want to see the decay, the lawlessness that exists in parts of America, then this clip demonstrates it perfectly. Here you have thieves threatening to call the cops on the storekeeper if he doesn't open the doors so they can take their loot home.
Stupid. I might as well just put that down.
Who's opening his door?
What?
Open the door.
All right, put that down.
Okay.
You go ahead and put it over there.
You have activated our door control. Don't touch me. You don't have the right to touch me. No, not all my kids.
Put my kids away. Go call them. Call them.
You can't touch me though.
Call them then. Go ahead, call them.
Whoa.
Go ahead, put that down.
Come on, y'all this way.
The sense of entitlement is off the charts. Let's look at a new Netflix program. I think this is a movie that looks like it was made by the jokesters at Babylon Bee. This is a true story. This is not something they've made up, but I've got to say, as lefties often do, they will destroy the telling of this important story with their usual self-delighted idiocy. This is a movie called 6888, starring Oprah.
Mr. President, this assignment has proven to be a logistical nightmare. Even tried the Women's Army Corps.
You mean the White Women's Army Corps?
Well, is there another?
Unspeakable, unspeakable.
They did not send us because they thought we could do it. We are here because they are sure we cannot.
Now to this attention-seeking victim who is complaining about a wine tasting at a castle because he was misgendered again.
Our server said, "Yes, sir," when I was asking some questions. And I said, "Oh, no. I'm actually not a sir. And instead of apologizing, or I don't know what else you would do other than apologize, they just walked away. Did not acknowledge what I said, just walked away. We saw the server like whispering to a manager, and a few minutes later, the manager came over and, really big smile, not acknowledging at all that the misgender had happened. And I say, hey, look, the last person, they misgendered me and that really hurt. And they just walked away. And the manager said, oh, well, some people just aren't as progressive as you. And then they gave us a nice little chocolate that suggested they wanted our money but didn't want to say sorry. So we left and got a full refund.
So they annoyed the servers, got a free meal, and they're still complaining. Let's go back to the devastating California fires and the DEI madness that has afflicted the estate, the far-left Democrat stronghold of California, where the LA Fire Department Assistant Chief Christine Larson has made statements like this. When we talk about woke lunacy, folks, this is what we mean.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house or emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. He's strong enough to do this, or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire. Which my response, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Where does one start? I don't care if 0.5% of firefighters are female. The last thing I think any sane person cares about if faced with a deadly fire is the diversity of those who are rescuing me. Can you believe she actually said there? It doesn't matter if she can't carry a man to safety because he shouldn't himself in the wrong place. That's the attitude we've got in the fire department. Now let's check in with LA Mayor Karen Bass, who had these comfort for her constituents after returning from an overseas junket.
Citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning. Regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor. Have you nothing to say today? Can you back up? Appreciate it. Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say since today? You're dealing with this disaster.
Now, she promised she will not use her position for these trip, but she was gallivanting around Ghana when the fires started. But the lefties are turning on each other in California. Here's our chief, Kristen Cowley, admitting that she has been failed in Los Angeles.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. Get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Joining me now is comedian and host of Prime Alex Stein on Blaze TV. Alex Stein, he is my second favourite Texan in the world. Alex, let's start with JD Vance, the incoming Vice President, has said that Donald Trump will issue pardons for peaceful January 6 protesters only. Is that enough? Should every January 6 prisoner now be released? They've been behind bars for several years.
Rita, they should all be pardoned on day one. This is something that I'm very passionate about because there was a lot of bad actors at play that day, and there's people that were pushed in there that didn't even know what they were doing, and there was a lot of bad actors. And if Donald Trump does not pardon them, because what it comes down to is whether they acted bad or not, nobody that had a trial in Washington, D.C. had a fair trial. All of the trials were rigged against them. So because of that, because they weren't on a level playing field legally and nothing was fair when it came to the legal system, they all deserve a pardon, even if they did something that would be considered violent, because none of them got a fair shake. So Donald Trump has to do that, not just on day one, but it has to get done very fast. People will give them, the cabinet some time to get this done, but it has to be done, and it needs to be a high priority, probably the most important priority.
This is a big issue for a lot of Donald Trump's supporters. This is something the media doesn't seem to understand. This is not a secondary issue. The lawfare that has taken place in that country, not just against President Trump, but also against his supporters, against conservatives. That was a big issue in the election campaign, and I think the supporters of Donald Trump expect to see actions now. He's talked a big game, and they now want to see him follow through with some of those promises.
You're exactly right. He has to. I mean, Kash Patel, a lot of people in the cabinet, they know that nobody got a fair shake, and they know that a lot of people's lives are ruined. And just, having the Department of Justice weaponized against American citizens, Trump knows that the Department of Justice was weaponized against him. So he should be more empathetic than anybody when it comes to January 6th. And all those people were there because, they didn't trust the election. And it's not Donald Trump's fault, but I think that he can make it better and rectify it, and he should use his power to do so.
Now, there are reports that President Joe Biden, he is still president, is going to issue a preemptive pardon for some of Donald Trump's enemies. He gave his son Hunter sort of a preemptive one. He cleared him of all the charges he was facing and any charges he may face. And the suggestions he might provide something similar to the vice chairwoman of the January 6th committee, Liz Cheney. What do you think about that?
I mean, when it comes to Liz Cheney, this guy's letting people out of Guantanamo Bay. I mean, there's nobody that Joe Biden won't pardon. So the fact that he's going to pardon Liz Cheney, I don't even care. He's literally pardoning some of the most evil people in the world. So Liz Cheney doesn't even move the scale, in my opinion.
And the number of people he's using his pardon powers for is astonishing. We might look at that later in the week, but some would say he's abusing that privilege. Well, he's certainly abusing it in the people he's selecting to pardon. Special Counsel Jack Smith, I want to talk to you about him, Alex. He's the man who was at the forefront of the witch hunt against Donald Trump. He's now resigned from the Department of Justice after submitting his final report yesterday. Donald Trump has reacted to his resignation. He said that Smith was fired. On Truth Social, deranged Jack Smith was fired today by the DOJ. He is a disgrace to himself, his family and his country. After spending over $100 million on the witch hunt against Trump, he left town empty-handed. And let's have a listen to what incoming FBI Chief Kash Patel had to say about Smith a little while ago.
The judge just unsealed documents in the Jack Smith case down in Florida, which says the prosecutors themselves have admitted to tampering with evidence, to moving the very boxes from one location outside of D.C. to South Florida before they ever even charged Donald Trump. How in the world can you not be prosecuting and charging these constitutional gangsters that are at DOJ? And they learn it from the same place, the top down, the same AGs, the same DAGs, the same FBI directors who are cheering them on. Judge Cannon should be implementing actual contempt proceedings against Jack Smith and the Department of Justice for lying to a federal judge and withholding evidence of exclusion and innocence from Donald Trump. Those contempt proceedings would be righteous, and I'd like to see those. Maybe we could put Jack Smith in prison.
Wow, that's Kash Patel on the Benny Show. What do you think, Alex? Should Jack Smith end up behind bars?
I mean, honestly, I don't disagree with anything that Kash said. I mean, these people have weaponized our Department of Justice, or what we call the Department of Injustice, against American citizens, and the top American citizen, Donald Trump, and he hasn't gotten a fair shake. And that's why you could say that, his first term and the presidency was constantly plagued by people like this attacking him and going after him, trying to impeach him. So people like this need to learn their lesson. I don't know if they will actually prosecute him, but people need to stop messing with Donald Trump and try to help him make this country great again. I mean, California is on fire. We're having terrorist attacks. Everybody's worried for their lives, Rita, and that's not really just an over-exaggeration. America, everything's shifted, and everybody's expecting something big to happen, and we need these people to all come together, whether they're a liberal, it doesn't matter if they're conservative, and support the president. He's been elected, in my opinion, 3 times in a row, and definitely 2 times. So he deserves America's respect. And people like Jack Smith, see you later. I would not want to switch positions with you right now.
Yes, the rubbish is taking itself out, but I think you'd be naive to think the swamp, the bureaucracy, whatever you want to call them, are going to say the president has a mandate and we're going to implement his policies. I think they're going to do everything they can to frustrate his agenda, to undermine him, to white ant him. But I think this time around, you're going to get a very different Donald Trump. He's aware of what they're going to do, and I think he's going to go in there fully equipped to deal with that bureaucracy. Let's hope so. There is a little bit of conflict within the MAGA camp, though, and it's continuing. Steve Bannon has lashed out at Elon Musk, calling him evil. He's slammed Musk's support for the skilled worker visa program, which Silicon Valley loves. And he said that he's planning to limit Musk's ability to influence Donald Trump's agenda. He said, why do we have South Africans, the most racist people on earth, white South Africans, making any comments at all on what goes on in the United States? He told an Italian newspaper, and he said also Elon Musk should go back to South Africa. Wow. Is this causing many waves within the Trump camp, or are you always going to have some level of disagreement, even if it's a robust disagreement, when you've got such a big majority of people with different worldviews who are fundamentally a part of the Trump agenda, but they're not going to agree on every topic every time?
No, I don't want to go as far as Steve Bannon and say that we need to deport Elon Musk, but a lot of conservatives have always been kind of a little bit wary of Elon because, he's into Neuralink, where he wants to hook a computer up to your brain. And, to us, that just seems kind of weird to normal human beings that they're going to have a computer hooked to their brain so they can park their Tesla. And listen, Elon Musk has done so many great things when it comes to free speech on X. I love Elon Musk, but at the same time, he is a immigrant in our country, and he's calling the shots, some really important shots. So I think that just makes people always skeptical of, the people that are in power. But honestly, when it comes to Elon Musk, as long as he keeps Twitter where I can survive on there, I'm going to respect Elon. He wants to go to Mars so dang bad. I think we need to worry about America first. You know what I mean? I think we should put America before Mars. But other than that, Elon's a good guy, and I support him.
Now, before you go, Alex, Donald Trump has posted footage of his viral exchange with President Barack Obama at President Carter's funeral. I've got to say, this is hilarious stuff, and I like to believe it's pretty close to the actual discussion they had.
Well, Mr. President,
For a second time. Barack, very nice to see you.
congratulations. How you doing?
A lot better, Dan.
Yeah, I bet. Knew you'd win.
Oh, really? Well, come on. Anyone could beat her.
Kidding me? I was just as appalled. You know what happened? He just didn't want to leave.
I know.
It's what happened. I did what I could to help her. She was for us.
I know. You know what I realized? Hillary still hates me. So much. I know. She'll never forget me.
I wonder if one day we will have lip readers tell us precisely what was said there. But what do you think of the fact that after everything Barack Obama threw at Donald Trump, calling him a fascist, modern-day Hitler, spreading all sorts of lies about him, even the most debunked lies about the Very Fine People hoax, he sat down and had a chat with him, was very, very friendly and polite. Is that a surprise, or is everything forgiven in the world of politics?
Well, I don't think anything's forgiven. There's no love lost between Barack Obama and Donald Trump, but Barack is probably happy that he had an excuse to not bring Michelle, so he could just have a boys' trip with Donald. And you saw him palling around with George Bush. So, Barack Obama realizes that they are in a special fraternity of men that very few people are. There's only been 47 presidents. There's been more presidents than that. Yes. Less than that, but I'm saying there's actually presidents before the first president. There's a lot of conspiracies behind how many presidents we've ever had, and I'm saying that on Sky News, but you got to look into that. But Rita, I'm just saying they're in a very special fraternity, so they're all kind of friends, at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and I always got the feeling that Barack never really rated Kamala Harris. He may have campaigned for her, but I mean, his campaigning wasn't very helpful. But he never thought he had his heart in it. Just the same with President Biden. I don't think he really thought he was up to it either. Alex Stein, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Rita. Always a pleasure. And I've missed you. So happy holidays. Happy New Year. Let's go Sky News. Thank you, Rita.